Wow, that's a tremendous looking trophy.
Welcome to the #1 PlayStation podcast in the Oceanias. My name's Dylan Blight, and joining me, Ashley Hobley.
Hey, Dylan. Excited to be here after a big week of nothing to do with PlayStation.
That's exactly right. Welcoming you to the... Well, I mean, we've tried... Admittedly, I've tried to scrounge up a bit of a show here. It was really awkward, obviously, doing the episode prior to E3, and just going to come out and say it is just as awkward doing the episode after E3.
Even though PlayStation won E3, it is still
That's
awkward.
A bullshit argument. People keep... I keep seeing this... It's a meme at this point. People being like, PlayStation won E3 by not attending. I'm like, that's not how it works.
Sure
That's not how a competition works. That's some like elite fanboyism calling is what I reckon that is. And I do a fucking PlayStation podcast here, right? You know what Sony has to do to win something? They have to turn up to the fucking race. Sorry, it's not how it works.
I guess
That's not how it works. People are like, "Oh, E3 sucks, so Sony wins because they didn't attend." No, E3 can suck.
People can do write-in votes for different things, you know? If they're not on the ballot, it's like that.
Every other year, it's like, who won out of the big three? Xbox, Nintendo, Sony. Which one wins? This year, they're like, who won out of the big three? The one that isn't here.
Yep.
So what you're trying to tell me
disappoint anybody.
Oh, fucking hell. Outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. We'll talk about Sony not attending E3 in a moment, of course. But let's go for the trophy cabinet first. So, Bronze Trophy, Beat Saber's DLC is opening a new door, I think, a new direction. We got Silver Trophy for Spyro coming to Crash Team Racing. I'll talk about that. Gold Trophy, Last of Us 2, release date leaking. We'll see. And then we get a Platinum, of course, with Xbox setting the date for the next-gen throwdown. Battle of the ages, century, Godzilla, War of the Monsters, whatever that movie was called. Which is better, that or Next Generation? I can tell you right now, someone who's seen that movie, The Next Generation.
If you haven't seen The Next Generation, you can compare.
Well, my opinion, I'm guesstimating. It's on official vote. I want to tell you something though before we head into this whole rest of the show, because I only remembered right before. Do you ever have that thing where, like, you wake up and you don't remember a dream you've had straight away? It's like several hours later, and you could just be doing something, and your brain just suddenly remembers what you had a dream of or something weirdly, like just randomly comes back to your mind for whatever reason. Yeah, so I was like out in the kitchen before, and like washing up a dish like half hour before recording this, and I remember what my dream was, and it's relevant to PlayStation is why I'm bringing it up. But it was quite funny because I didn't completely remember it. I legit had a dream last night. This was my dream that after we was at E3, right? We was at E3. We weren't at home.
We got struck it big. Got media passes. Sponsored flights,
yeah. We was. I mean, the dream didn't explain how we got there, as most dreams don't. It's not necessary, but backstory. But we were at E3, and it was the last day, and Sony, out of the blue, pulled up in the parking lot somehow, set up a tent, press conference. It's on. They set up some chairs. This is a dream. I don't know who told it. Someone in the dream, some person ran up to me, and they're like, Sony's here. They're in the parking lot. They're doing a press conference. This is a legit dream I had. Now, I don't know what this says about me as a person, that this is the stuff I'm dreaming about.
Someone didn't come up with that, and you just subliminally brought it to dream life.
I'll tell you what. I can't remember all of the dream is the thing. So I can't tell you if I've got precognition for what they could be announcing, because it's a dream. You forget things, and as I said, it only came back to me like half an hour ago. But what I do remember is we get in there, and for starters, they were cheap, like plastic chairs. I don't know if that's of note.
Of course they were. They just built a tent. They're not going to bring in fancy, expensive ones.
Tent. Yeah, they got these fucking Kmart chairs.
The intern putting down little chairs.
Yeah, they were pretty
quick
crap
as possible.
But here's how it opened. I don't remember anything after the opening of it, but the opening's pretty funny anyway. So while we're waiting for it to start, for whatever reason, they have Gran Turismo logo flashing around on the screen on the stage, but it's doing that thing like the old school DVD logo where it's like it says Gran Turismo, and it's just like boing from the corners. And I remember, and for whatever reason, I'm just sitting there, and as you do, watching that logo for people who aren't like 6 years old, you'd sit there and watch that logo, and you just wait for it to hit the
perfectly
like,
in the
direct corner, perfectly in the corner. And when it did, this Gran Turismo logo hit perfectly in the corner of my dream. Everyone in the auditorium or this tent, whatever, we all cheered.
Sounds about right. Sounds plausible.
So then the thing starts. Out walks Shuhei. And he says, this is all I can remember. I want to talk to you about Gran Turismo. This is all I remember of the dream. This is all I remember. You got a tent, parking lot, randomly put together press conference at E3, and that Shuhei Ishida's there, head of PlayStation Worldwide Studios. Comes out. I want to talk to you about Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
So everyone should have a think about that one.
Well, Gran Turismo confirmed.
Gran Turismo. I'm just saying, if in the next state of play there's something to do with Gran Turismo, I'm officially an X-Man.
I tell you what, Dreams on PS4 is super impressive. It's able to do subliminal messaging like this.
Maybe, I don't know. It was quite
invading your
dream.
actual dreams.
If you're like a dream psychologist or whatever,
what does this mean?
Yeah, what does this mean? At VivaLadil, VIVALADIL on Twitter. Let me know what my dreams mean. But let's move on with the show instead of just talking about my dreams. But I thought it was highly relevant nonetheless. So let's talk about actually one thing you've been playing on PlayStation. It seems like you've been playing quite a bit, unless you've just been idling from what I've seen.
Been idling.
Okay. But you have played some amount. Fallout 76, you jump back in. Bethesda during E3, of course, announced that an upcoming expansion called The Wastelanders will be coming out. It's not out yet. That's the important thing. It's bringing back NPCs and these sorts of things. It looks interesting, but it is not out yet. The only thing that's out since E3 update is the nuke battle royale
Nuclear Winter
thing. Nuclear Winter, yeah. So, what have you been doing? How's Fallout 76?
Yeah. So I played a couple of rounds of the Nuclear Winter thing. First off, it's squad based. You're in a group of 4. Well, at least that's the automatic setting, which was surprising at first. I'm like shooting at these guys. I'm like, why aren't you taking any damage? Why is your name coming up? But yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's set in the world of Fallout 76, which isn't designed for battle royales.
Really?
Yeah. So there's just like too much foliage and trees and shit. It's just hard to spot opposition. I think a bit too difficult, but it's interesting. There's like nuclear bombs you could find and drop off at different places in the map to kill everybody. So that's a way to win, I guess. I saw a tweet today. You can have a stalemate at the end of the match if you drop a nuclear bomb exactly where you are and don't get out of the ring, and everybody dies. So, I mean, yeah, it was interesting. Couple of rounds. Obviously, they've got some weapons in there that would be very hard to find in the actual game by itself. I think they're just like massive
OP ones,
rattling guns. Yeah, OP ones. So, yeah, it's interesting.
What's the best you did?
I think I was like the third person to die.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, like third last.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't notice the fire was coming and I got caught.
Oh.
Yeah, that was awkward. That was my first playthrough. So, yeah. But then my team won, so it's all good.
Did you try any of the other stuff since you jumped back into it?
Nope.
The alpaca thing or whatever it was called?
Nope.
Okay.
I just played a couple rounds like this. And I'm like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, I think
apparently also with the vaults, you're in like the loading screen is when you can actually, where they're waiting for all the players to queue up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So during that session, you can explore around Vault 51. But then as the higher level you get, the more of the vault is opened up. There didn't seem to be anything in there. I don't know whether that's something that's going to be added in, like story things you can look up or whatever, but I know that was the thing.
I think the thing for Fallout is that a lot of people probably saw the thing at E3, the Wastelanders thing, and went, oh, they're adding new quest lines with NPCs and stuff. That all sounds interesting, but it's not out yet. I think if they'd announced it and it had dropped, and it had dropped straight away, then Fallout 76 could have possibly had a more positive spin coming out of E3, but they're like, hey, this thing that everyone wants is coming, and to tide you over, we've said, fuck it, what can we do? Battle Royale, shit, sure. Like,
Yeah.
this is our post E3 PlayStation podcast. I think I like to think of it as if your best friend had a party and they didn't invite you. It's kind of what it feels like, because there's so much news. Lots and lots and lots of news. None of it's like PlayStation. Like, there's games that come into PlayStation that were announced at E3 or talked about at E3, and we'll go over a couple of them. But it just feels so weird to come out at E3 and I'm trying to not being able to grab like highly specific stories to do with PlayStation. Because
it's more like your best friend didn't want to go to a party, but you went to the party, but now you can't talk to your best friend about the party.
Oh yeah, that's a way better analogy actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. That's exactly what it is. But let's talk about it. So the best friend in question is Xbox. No console wars here. And they're buying a new fancy car next year, and they've announced the date of when it's happening. We'd already talked about the specs of the car that we was going to be buying, but we hadn't set a date yet. You know. So in case you don't know, this is what Xbox did at E3. They announced that the next gen Xbox, codenamed Project Scarlet, will be arriving holiday period 2020. The specs that they shouted out were pretty much box for box, tick for tick, exactly what Sony had already talked about during the Wired article. You know, AMD processor with Navi Tech, GDDR6 memory, specially designed SSD, virtual RAM, ray tracing, 8K, 120 frames per second. Load times, lots of load time stuff. The video was pretty much exactly Sony's stuff. So what do you think that means? I think is an interesting point, because the only new bit of information we really have from Xbox's side is they've put a period. PlayStation hasn't put a rough estimate of when the next generation PlayStation drop. They haven't said holiday 2020. So that's the one thing Xbox did that was actually different. But do you think they only ticked the same Sony boxes after the Wired article just to play it safe? Or do you think it's just coincidence that these are the specs they were only willing to talk about and they weren't, you know?
No, I think it's just coincidence. I guess that is as good as they can get the technology that's available currently to work for a console to be manufactured at the time that they're expecting to. So it's not too surprising. It'll be just a matter of how they implement it and how their interface and everything works with it. Are they going to have Connect 3? Probably not. Is it going to be always online? Who knows?
I highly doubt it now that Phil Spencer's there.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a different Xbox these days.
I mean, the specs are the same. How it's implemented will be the difference, and then personal preference.
The other thing, of course, with the Xbox thing, I don't really know if it's hard to count it as a one-up because they didn't really show gameplay or anything that was super impressive. Was they were like, hey, the next Halo's coming, and that's going to be a launch title for the Project Scarlet. Watch this cinematic video that may or may not actually be part of the game. I highly doubt it's actually part of the game. I think it's probably just a like concept type thing.
Like,
but to me,
all the Halo 5 materials that weren't in the game.
Well,
Master Chief with a hood in the desert.
I honestly feel like it was more the trailer they showed a year ago, right, for the Halo thing. That we didn't know it was an next-gen title at that point, though. But that teaser they showed there, that would have been similarly more interesting to show now, because the one they showed here didn't look super next-gen. And I honestly, this is my opinion, and this isn't no like PlayStation fanboyism thing, but I honestly feel like Sony's video leaking of and showing all those tech journalists the load time stuff with Spider-Man, that would have been more impressive, and that still is more impressive as your like first glimpse at the potential of next gen and what it can do than this Halo video. Don't you think?
We already have pretty video games. We already have things that look pretty and lifelike.
Yeah, it wasn't even that pretty. Is the thing. That's the problem.
It wasn't the prettiest thing we saw all week or lifelike thing we've seen all weekend.
100%. There were other stuff we saw that looked way better, which is why I find it so weird that they're like their first official next gen game that they show doesn't even look anywhere near as
it's Halo.
impressive as other stuff.
It's the franchise. The franchise that built Xbox.
I reckon PlayStation could have gone. You're talking about like winning E3. PlayStation could have ended up going and just showed the fuck. They could have announced, not done the wide article, announced it there, shown, be like, we don't have any games to show yet, but here's a tech demo of Spider-Man. And as silly as it sounds, I think now that we know that what Microsoft did, if they showed that Spider-Man video in like the day after this Xbox thing, Sony would have won. That's what I think. Because I simply think that showing the load time difference would have been more impressive and interesting as to what next gen would have been. Now, after it all happened, articles would have been like, why didn't either company really show much or give too many details? And why haven't they talked much about launch titles other than Halo? Like, there still would have been a lot of criticism for both sides about what they chose to announce and reveal, like low on the spec side of stuff and whatever else. That would have happened. But I think just comparing Halo compared to load times in Spider-Man, I think load times in Spider-Man is way more interesting.
It's more useful and obvious distinction for us as consumers, but
yes,
yeah, I think Sony know what they're doing. Obviously, they want to have content to show us when they want to give us a reason why we need to buy it day one, and that will be the games that we're going to get at launch.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're waiting until they can actually show us those before saying anything.
If the Xbox is coming holiday 2020, when do you think the PlayStation comes?
I think it's either at the latest holiday next year, which is not a crazy thing to say. Probably it would be smarter if they went earlier, but there's no dire requirement for them to. I mean, by that point, a Wired article would have been out for more than 18 months, so you would have thought they would have made a move well before that.
I was trying to quickly look up. So the Xbox One launched in Australia on November 22nd, 2013. And the PS4...
Pretty sure it was like way before, like 6 months or something.
PS4 was November 29th, it says. Maybe there was a bigger gap between other territories. Yeah, no. So... No,
maybe I'm thinking of the PS3. It's fine.
Yeah, so those two were pretty close. November 15th for PlayStation, November 22nd for Xbox.
So a week.
November 29th for PlayStation in PAL, actually, compared to November 22nd here for Xbox. The big gap was the PlayStation launched later Japan, and the Xbox launched way later in Japan, like nearly a whole year later in Japan, September 4th, 2014. So they launched pretty close last year. Wouldn't put it past that to happen again, obviously. I still think that PlayStation will go first or try to go first. I could see them hopefully like using this, trying to figure out and get some inside information to, try guesstimate when Xbox would launch and put in their launch data a month, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, anything, just a little bit beforehand. Because I do think there is, even if you're really close, just getting out even a couple weeks, it's like you're the first of next gen. Everyone's talking about you. Everyone's talking about you. Everyone's talking about you. Xbox launches. People are talking about it, but you've missed the heightened buzz, But then also on the other flip side, that you got to take into account, maybe they don't want to do that this year. Maybe they do actually just want to launch way ahead of time, and we could still have them announce it and launch it at a really fucking weird time, like June next year. You could be like, that's a horrible time to launch a video game console, and I'd say, yeah, but like the Switch launched at what everyone presumed was a horrible time, and that this whole like the holiday season for games and whatever else over the last couple of years, we've noticed there's no such thing anymore. Games just release at whatever time. Video games can surely just do the same. Just release whenever the fuck they want. It doesn't really matter if it's holiday period or not. Interesting as we go ahead though. But it's exciting to know that that officially, next year.
At least we got some sort of confirmation that it's happening soonish.
Yeah, so that's somewhat exciting. All right, so let's talk about Last of Us 2, because you're on the fighting side of this. So Ashley Johnson plays Ellie in Last of Us, in case you don't know, and in an interview on Between the Sheets, a Critical Role interview podcast thing on their YouTube channel, Ashley Johnson said when she got asked about the interview for Last of Us 2 release date, in an interview, she seems to go, I think it's coming out Feb, and then she gets cut off, and then they never go back to it. But it sounds very much like February. Your argument as to why this is bullshit is just simply that she posted on her Instagram that it's fake. Yeah. Or it's not true.
She's been making joke dates. February 32nd and other dates. I think she and Troy are smart enough not to release anything until the actual date is released. If you didn't know, the host of Between the Sheets is Brian W. Foster, who is Ashley Johnson's boyfriend. And so clearly an in-gag that he cut her off and then, so she couldn't make it appear like she's going to release the date, but it's cut her off, never get back to it. It's a joke.
I think the thing that adds credence to this is that Jason Schreier, back on the 29th of May, tweeted, looks like Death Stranding is about to get announced for a November release. The Last of Us 2 was also planned for fall 2019, but I actually just heard it got pumped to early 2020, possibly February. Either way, final year for PS4. So when he tweeted that, obviously the Death Stranding thing became true. About a couple days later, Death Stranding got a November release date. And in the same tweet where he got that correct, he's posted that he's had rumblings of February.
He said maybe.
All I'm saying...
When you say early 2020, you've got a 1 in 3 shot of when it's going to be, of what month you're going to hit. So
you don't think it could come out next year early?
I think it's possible. I'm not going to lock it in. I'm not going to go crazy. I think February might be a bit early. I think, it's looking a bit crowded at the early of next year. So I would have said like March, April again, like same sort of date they've been going the last few years. But
here's the other problem. We're approaching the last year of this generation. The official year. Now, as I said on Arcade Couch when we talked about this, there will be more years, but it's like where games release, but it's not, but it's the end of the last, it's the prominent generation
as
of the consoles.
The gen.
Yeah, as the gen. So
as the nextest gen.
Yeah. And we're going to hit the end of the year, holiday period. All the games that are coming out then, presumably, go even if they release like a month or a couple weeks before the next gen titles consoles release, they're going to do what this gen did, which is a lot of people might not just pick them up because they'll just wait a month or whatever to grab them on the next gen console. So you've got basically the first 6 months of the year safely to assume. A lot of people just safely assume that that's like the remainder of this gen. And then after then, it's like, we're in the weeds. We're in the woods. What's this next gen look like? What games are coming out? What are we doing? So it's like the next year is going to be packed the early months because it's like what's left of the next generation. You can't set Last of Us 2 for November 2020 unless the PS it's going to release coinciding with the PS5, I guess. Which is a possibility, but they've said that they've been saying this entire time that it's a PS4 game, and I think some people might be. I even if it launch game for PS5 and it releases on PS4 at the same day, I don't think they'll do that because they're losing money. As bad as it sounds, if they release it in February and then come around to November, the PS5 releases, and they re-release it, they get to make more money. Unless people complain because it's been so many months and they're like, yeah, sure, I'll buy it again. Whereas if they release it on the PS4 and PS5 on the same day as a console launch, they're going to lose money by people double dipping because people will double dip.
Yeah.
So I don't see that happening. That's just lost money.
Well, so you're assuming the game is going to be ready by then. I mean, they only finished shooting cinematic stuff early April, end of April, early May, I think, off the top of my head.
The important thing for that is it's cinematic stuff. That's not...
Still have to get animated and rendered and all sorts of other stuff they need to work on. You don't know how far along all the gameplay stuff is as well.
No, we don't. But I do think it's important to note that there was specifically noted that was the cinematic stuff, so the cutscene stuff, which for all we know, they could have been a lot further along or nearly done with the actual animation stuff for the in-game stuff by that point.
Or they could be really far away.
They could. But I will be highly... This is saying it's coming out next year.
Yeah.
It is coming out next year full stop because they said it's a PS4 title. They're not going to release it in 2021 on both consoles, like a year into the next generation. That is not happening. It is launching in that first half of next year. I'm putting money on it right now.
Okay.
You want to fight me?
Not really. Be very difficult.
Putting money on it. First half of next year. It's happening.
But yes, Ashley Johnson did not reveal the date. And I love that there's so many stories about it. It's ridiculous.
It's a headlining story. What do you want me to say? I fucking covered it.
Yeah, but did you fact check? Did you know that Brian W. Foster was their boyfriend and that it was all a joke?
Yes. I don't think it's important for the article.
It explains why he cut her off.
Does it?
Yeah.
Anyone could have cut her off.
For the gags. To incite stories like these.
No. I think
it was good promotion for Between the Sheets on Critical Role, youtube.com/critroll. I know.
All I did was post exactly what they said.
Yep.
You can take with that what you will. What are we getting into? Ashley tries to tell
journalism
what journalism integrity is now?
Yeah.
Dylan, don't cover stories
that are false.
That are clickbaity.
Don't report on rumors.
It's not a rumor.
You need at least 3 sources.
Jesus Christ. Imagine if that's how the world works. Oh,
yeah.
God.
I've seen the newsroom.
Let's move on. Ni no Kuni is getting remastered.
Yay.
That's exciting. So it was announced it got leaked ahead of E3, but then it was officially announced during E3, not at any particular panel. Bandai Namco announced it right before the Nintendo panel because Switch is getting a version of it, but the PS4 and PC version of it will be a remastered, up-resed, prettier looking version. I don't know if it has any other goodies. Maybe they'll announce some more goodies closer to the date. Either way, Ni no Kuni 1, Wrath of the White Witch, finally coming to PS4 way later than it should have, is the annoying thing. That's my number one problem with this. Way later.
This was a PS3 almost just before PS4 game.
Yes. Why didn't they release this?
Any point between now and...
Before fucking 2 released. It was ridiculous. That entire time leading up to Ni no Kuni 2 kept being like, come on. Yeah, come on. Where's the... Bring it on over. Bring it on over. And it was one of the only PS3 games I'd actually kept out in my I've got like 4 or 5 PS3 games I've kept out. And that entire time leading up to Ni no Kuni 2 releasing, I kept being like, maybe one day I'll go back and finish it, because I never actually finished it back in the day.
Me neither.
And yeah, well, it's a very big and long game. I kept being like, maybe one day I'll go back and finish it. Obviously, that never ended up happening. But I still can't believe they didn't. They must have started it after 2, is the thing.
That's the only thing rationale I can come up with. That, or they're like, hey, we've got a movie coming out, an anime movie. Let's remaster this game for that to tie it in, to get people interested.
Let's be real. No one knows about that anime movie apart from people that live in Japan and us. I've heard no one else talk about it apart from us.
That's true.
Very obscure news story. I think I managed to
obviously it's big in Japan, so that makes sense.
Well, yeah. So Ni no Kuni 1, in case you don't know, if you want your Ni no Kuni lore, is completely different to the second game. That's your basic lore. So
actually, if you've played Ni no Kuni 2, you've spoiled Ni no Kuni 1. Somewhat, there is a puzzle in the game that directly relates to the first game.
I don't think you can fully
that
spoil the game.
recaps the entire first game.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, nonetheless, it's all about the journey, not the
It is.
the place. But you play as Oliver, whatever his name is, and I'm just gonna spoil like the first hour, I guess. His mum dies, and then Ollie's out crying on his favorite stuffed toy, and then through the power of magic, his stuffed toy comes to life, becomes Mr. Drippy. Drippy is a great friend, great
Classic
pal.
character.
Yeah.
Iconic.
Iconic, some would say. And then the two of you take off to whatever the fuck the land of Ni no Kuni is called. I don't actually know what the land's called. What's the land called?
No idea off the top
Does
of
it
my
have a
head.
name? I don't know. And this is like 100 years, 1,000 years before Ni no Kuni 2, something like that, isn't it?
It's a long time before, yeah.
It's a very, very long time between both games. So they're not super related. And the big difference between Ni no Kuni, full name, by the way, Wrath of the White Witch, 1 and 2 is Ni no Kuni 1 had the Studio Ghibli involvement. So Studio Ghibli was involved in some of the story stuff. They didn't do the story. They were involved. They made some slight tweaks and suggested some stuff and whatever to have it more of their Studio Ghibli story feel. And then they did all of the the cutscenes and stuff, which
Not all of them, like select.
the ones that obviously look like a Studio Ghibli movie.
Yeah,
were
they
done
did
by
some
them.
2D animated cutscenes,
Yes, they didn't do like
which
all
at
the art,
times
though.
felt out of place because then they'd also do 3D animated cutscenes. It was an odd choice. They should have just
Yeah, but I'm hoping because obviously the stuff they did obviously looked way better, and then you go back to normal game, it would be like, ugh. Well, not that it looked ugly, but it would be like the art style difference.
they were
I'm
different.
like hoping that maybe the PS4, remastered, look a
They
little bit
improved
closer,
it. Yeah,
a little bit. Just find that line a little bit, I guess. And then the other thing for Ni no Kuni 1 compared to 2, 2 is just more of an action game. 1 is basically Pokemon, where you capture these little creatures and stuff. I can't remember their names.
yes.
But there's a heap of them to capture. Well, you not throw Pokeballs at them. You basically become friends with them. And that's how you fight with like a team of 3, I think, on the field at one time. And it's like old school, kind of sort of old school, like attack, do whatever you need to do. But then obviously the second one, you controlled your character and ran around and attacked. It was more actual action role playing, I guess. Either way, I'm excited. Are you going to pick this up, jump back in?
Maybe we'll see. It'd be nice if I could transfer my save over from PS3 and just
Imagine.
finish that last hour or so that I needed to finish the game. But yeah, it's cool that it's finally coming. Other people can finally play it because it's one of those ones that was stranded on PS3 that people would have loved to have gone back to.
Or DS if you got the Japanese version.
That doesn't count.
That doesn't count. Heard it here first.
Yep.
Don't report on fake news. That doesn't count though. I really want to play it. Whether or not I'll actually finish it this time, given it's coming out in September,
Probably not.
close to, I presume, a busy October, November period sort of stuff, PAX, games, whatever else is happening around that time. I don't know if I'll actually finish it as much as I'd like to, but I'll at least want to start it again, I think. I quite enjoy the start of the game. The start feels the most Ghibliest to me, if that makes sense.
Yep.
The most magical interaction between like human world and... That's not going to super spoil territory, but the start of that game, you come and go a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, when you leave the human world and come to the Ni no Kuni world, you're there. That's it.
Yep.
Number 1 has more back and forth type stuff, which reminds me more of like Studio Ghibli movies. Okay, so obviously Crash Team Racing, Nitro-Fueled. It's out at the end of this week, Friday,
Yes.
Thursday, one of those days. I don't actually remember which day it
Today's
is.
Friday.
Probably Friday, sure. They've announced a bunch of content during E3 that's coming, and it's quite crazy, really, the amount of stuff that this game is going to have now. So they announced this thing that's going to be coming called this magical word called Grand Prix. It's a new concept inventing Grand Prix. I don't know if you're into them.
Never
but
heard
they
of
get-
these Grand Prix.
Yeah. So it's going to be post-launch seasonal events that will allow you to unlock new costumes, stickers, wheels, etc. These types of things, and they're going to unlock sort of like a battle pass, I guess, is how the video in the press release made it sound. Because you're going to have this battle pass thing, which is your Grand Prix, that's going to level up over the period as you put points into it by completing challenges and races and so on. And then as you level it up, you'll unlock more stuff. Now, the ultimate thing that you unlock is at the end of it, you unlock a new character. And I announced who the new character for the first Grand Prix is going to be, and it's going to be Tawna, which is it's a character from Spider-Man. Spider-Man, fucking hell. It's a character from Crash Bandicoot 1, which is Crash's seemingly girlfriend, I guess. Then she disappears after that, really. We never see her again. There she is. She's back. She's gone. But also, in the video, for a hot second, we see a picture of 3 characters. And other characters that were confirmed in this are 1, Baby T, baby dinosaur from Crash Bandicoot 3. And then most importantly, Spyro. Spyro the dragon, little purple dragon friend. Going to be coming to Crash Team Racing. Whether or not Spyro will be coming the next Grand Prix or the Grand Prix after, that's yet to be determined. But honestly, this game, which started and was announced as a remake of Crash Team Racing, the best kart racer of all time available on PS1, has now turned into basically a brand new Crash game to me, Crash Team Racing game. They've remade the entire thing of Crash Team Racing, sure. But then they announced they added in the tracks from Crash Tag Team Racing. They've added in customizable carts. You can put skins on your characters. You can change your wheels. You can put stickers on the back of your car. You can do all these sorts of things. Now they've got post-launch Grand Prix stuff happening. You got this really souped up online mode. It looks great. Hopefully it plays amazing. Obviously I haven't played it, so I can't 100% say that. I'm going to assume it plays great. But overall, the amount of content that's in this game that was pitched and launched as a remake is quite ridiculous now. It's a lot. They're too good to us. Beanox. Shout out. You know what I'm saying, Ash?
Sure.
You excited? You pumped? Revving your Regins?
Not really, but I'll pick it up and we'll play it. We'll do that racing, that team racing.
We're gonna do that racing.
I mean, it makes sense if they are adding a battle pass or something like that to have something that keeps people invested in the game long term. So
yeah.
I'll
say now too. We don't have an official date. I'm gonna work it out next week at some point. Put a date on it. But a couple of weeks from now, we're gonna do an online tournament.
Yeah.
So
assuming the game's good.
Assuming it's good. If it's terrible, it won't happen because I'm not playing it if it's shit. But I'm assuming it's good.
I mean, it just needs to be okay and Dylan will play it.
That's true, yeah. Assuming it's good and it's fine and it's everything we've dreamed on, we will be doing a tournament. Twitch.tv/Explosion Network. We'll run a bit of a Grand Prix. I need to figure out like if we just want to do a one night thing, if we want to do like a month-long thing, you know, like however we want to do it. It won't be as long as the Mario thing because that was way too long. But we'll do this for some length of time. So if you're thinking about picking up Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled, PS4, do it. A couple weeks from now, after we've all had the time to play through the campaign, you know, unlock some things, do what you need to do. Don't do it the first week. That's way too early. I want people to play through the campaign and stuff. You know, get their grease on, get their wheels spinning, get their tires tuned, get their. I'm trying to think of car puns, but I don't really know much about cars, so
get it in gear.
Get yourself in gear. There you go. Thank you. There you go. So that's a couple weeks from now. We'll be doing something though. So obviously keep your eye on the website and socials and all those things. One of the biggest things at E3 though, apart from Crash Team Racing, which was a big thing, Final Fantasy VII.
Was it at E3?
Sure was. It was there. People were playing it.
Okay.
Was it at a conference? No. But I don't know if you know this, Ash. The conferences aren't everything that's E3. There's actually a show that you go to for several days if you are over there. It's fucking crazy concept. So Final Fantasy VII Remake, one of the weirdest thing about it though, that we officially got confirmed, and some people are still online. I even saw some person today arguing in IGN comments about this sort of stuff, is that it's going to be split into multiple parts. How many? We don't know. But what we do know is that part 1 of X, could be 10 parts, will be coming to PS4. And although we know that they've said that the PS5 will be backwards compatible, and that's all good and dandy, they said that the game could be coming to PS5 anyway as well, which would make sense. So Yosuke Masuda, the Square Enix president CEO, told Game Informer when he was asked about cross-generation possibilities for this game, said, "I believe that our teams have made it so that the game will support both the next generation and the current generation of consoles. I believe it is being developed so that it's going to be playable on both. So I'm not really concerned about that. And I believe that the fans are also going to be able to enjoy it on both, including the next generation of consoles." So although it's not officially confirmed, to me, now I don't want to start any rumors, Ash. Don't want to start too many crazy rumors. But to me, that just sounds like the game's going to come out on PS5 as well, which is probably going to be like a lot of games that launch next year. How many? Last of Us, Cyberpunk, fucking Final Fantasy VII Remake. What else is big next year? Name a huge game. There's 10 million of them, isn't there? What's a big game coming out next year?
Next year? Watch
Dogs Legion. Probably, maybe not. Don't know.
Cyberpunk.
Wouldn't be... What, Cyberpunk. Yeah, Cyberpunk definitely a cross thing or whatever. But yeah, so... Because the weird thing will be, and what would be, if this game was stuck on PS4, then you could have parts 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on PS5, and part 1 would just be stuck on PS4. That'd be quite weird. So that's exciting. I would probably just sell my PS4 copy and upgrade it, even if I don't play it. Yeah. Just so I could have all the boxes be
the same,
unison. Yeah, just so I could have them all be the same for sure. So I think that was the other thing, and this comes to that IGN comment story I was reading before, was at the Square Enix conference, they come out, they say, "Hey, the game's going to be on 2 discs." They then say, "This is part 1. How many? We don't know." So the argument I was seen being made today in these IGN comments was that someone was trying to say that part 1 is 1 disc, part 2 is the other disc. Now, of course, everyone was replying and being like, "No, this is part 1. It's just simply across 2 discs." And this guy was adamant.
Because they're not good at compression.
Yeah. Well, I don't really know. But this person was adamant. They're like, "No, they said the game is 2 discs in the box. Part 1 is on disc 1. Part 2 will be on disc 2. Now, he's wrong. But I do think it's worth pointing out that I would assume there are probably going to be a lot of people like him
who believe that.
And that's
and
a
also
problem
believe the earth is flat and vaccinations are dangerous for our youth.
Well, yeah, exactly. That too. But there are going to be a lot of people like him who, just because the marketing is so confusing. I feel like Square Enix hasn't completely fucked it, but they're on the road to fucking it. And I think that starts with not putting on the box part 1, which I find quite weird. And as the days continue at E3 and the more articles I see pop up about this, it's really odd that they didn't just call it part 1. Because it says Final Fantasy VII Remake. I understand if someone reads that, they're going to go, "Well, that's it."
But, I know what they're going to do. The second part's going to be called Final Fantasy VII Remaker.
We laugh now, but you're probably right.
And then, obviously, Final Fantasy VII Remakist.
Duck. Do XX, do a decum.
Yep.
Part dos.
Figured it out.
You're probably right. So I'm just like, why would you fuck yourself? Why, Square Enix, would you fuck yourselves on this is beyond me.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot. Other interesting story that came out this week was Troy Baker was doing a panel or something. I don't even know.
Lone Echo 2.
Lone Echo 2, here we go. So the article, I'll just read the article. E3 2019, Sony thought Troy Baker was in too many games. Comes from Push Square. It says Sony's been keeping Troy Baker in design hairwax as he starred in several of the platformers' biggest games: Last of Us, Infamous Second Son, Uncharted 4: Thief's End, Death Stranding, Uncharted Lost Legacy, The Last of Us Part 2, and probably a dozen more we're forgetting. So when developer Ready at Dawn wanted to cast their rationally handsome thespian, look at these descriptive words. Who wrote this? Sammy Barker. Good on you. As Sir Galahad in the Order 1886, the platform holder said no. Troy Baker said during a panel on Lone Echo 2 at E3, since you're going to bring it up, he golfed apparently. Sony literally said, and I hope you're going to laugh at this because I had to, you're in too many games. So they chucked it. They changed it. And then it says, seed of Chucky star Steve West went on to play the English Knight, but Baker could have added another PlayStation exclusive to his portfolio. I think this personally reads as good news to me. I don't want a world where fucking Troy Baker and Nolan North, as much as I like them, they're the only people on the front cover of all my PlayStation exclusives. But God of War.
That's true.
I don't want that world. And that's nothing against them. It's just, come on. That'd be ridiculous.
I think it's funny that the four of the 6 games that they listed at the start of the article are games that came in out after the Order 1886. But
what? Uncharted,
Death Stranding, Uncharted Lost Legacy, and Last of Us Part 2 of all games that
the Uncharted Lost Legacy
are coming out or came out after.
Lost Legacy, Last of Us Part 2, I mean, they're sequels of characters you already played in other mentioned games in this list, which is Last of Us and Uncharted 4. So doesn't really count. They're just continuations of characters. And yeah, I honestly, you haven't played this, have you? You haven't played the 1886?
No, I haven't.
Picturing him in this role? No. The person they got to play it, because I don't mind that game. I think it has problems. It's definitely not perfect. But the fact you can pick it up for like $20 these days, and for $20, really fun game. Cool lore, cool characters, combat's enjoyable enough, really pretty looking game. But picturing Troy Baker playing that character, who's a very like old school, somewhat British, like leader type. I don't really know how you else to describe. I cannot picture Troy Baker playing that part. Full stop. The person they got to do it did a great job. So I think we're in the right timeline, is how I'd describe it.
Yeah. And they're probably right. You look at all the games he was in around that time. Batman Arkham Knight. He was in The Crew. Tales of the Borderlands. Far Cry 4.
Fucking everything.
Lego Batmans. Shadow of Mordor. Obviously Infamous. Wildstar. Diablo 3 voiced some characters. Bioshock Infinite. And Last of Us. Arkham Origins.
Because when you took off, every studio just started hiring him as the lead straight away.
Yeah, well, they had to pick somebody other than Nolan North, so.
Yeah, and he was the person that came after Nolan North. They was like, oh, there's another white guy. There's 2 of them now. We're set. What else do we need?
Now, just need female voice. That was it.
Well, we got Laura Bailey, who's the equivalent, somewhat.
At the moment, yes, arguably.
Equivalent. She's like the most prominent, I guess, voice actor. I mean, just look at the Avengers thing. Who'd they get? Laura Bailey. So I guess I would say she's the most prominent video game voice actor, I think.
At the moment, yeah.
At the moment, yeah.
So I had the pick this fortnight.
You had your pick. Tell me what you've been playing for this past fortnight.
So the game I picked is Expiration Date by Zero SW Even. Or Sweven, I guess.
Sweven.
And Zero is spelled out Zero. It's pretty much just a zombie hack and slash sort of platformer RPG thing. Your bus or something your car crashes into a barricade and you wake up, you've forgotten everything. There is a small character creation screen, which I thought was novel. Ooh. It's very simple. You can change the color of your shirt, change the color of your skin, and then you can have a different hat. Hat? And then it's just you basically go up, you talk to this guy, he tells you he needs an axe. You go jump platform around a level, do a couple of different puzzles, get the axe. You can pick up loot along the way, different weapons, you can get coins to buy different weapons in the shop. But it's very short, like 2 different levels. I think I finished in like 10, 15 minutes. But there's potential there. It's just trying to think of what it's most like. I guess it's like a cross between.
Is it top down or is it third person?
It's third person.
Oh.
Like top down, like it's like a Banjo-Kazooie or something like that, but with the zombie.
Oh, okay.
Zombie Left 4 Dead vibe.
Yeah.
It's cartoony and stuff, but yeah. It's fun. Yeah, it's quite amusing. You can hack for one of the puzzles you need to hack these computers. So it cuts to a close-up shot of his hands going up against the keyboard, just smashing the keyboard because he's like got big, dumb, stupid hands. Yeah. I don't know how they did it in Dreams. Like, how do you pull all these different bits together? But yeah, it was quite amusing. I enjoyed it. I think it's obviously they're still working on it. This was like the second version. They revamped all the controls. So they've got a new set of controls, but you can switch back to the old set of controls if you prefer those. So yeah, I thought it was interesting. It's got potential. Something a bit different to what we've seen so far.
Cool. Expiration date 0/7. So however we're saying it. Zombie hack and slash platformer, as described by Ashley Hobley. Episode 150.
Every single word possible.
PSVR for the players.
So Beat Saber got its second DLC this past week. Now I haven't played it yet, so I can't talk to. Been very busy. I don't know if you know E3's been on and whatever else. So I haven't played it yet, but I think it's interesting just to talk about something about it, which is that it's their first licensed, like a big artist licensed music pack, because the last one was like this DJ pack thing, remixes by that I can't remember the name of the people that do it now, but it's big band, Imagine Dragons. That's the thing. So it's got 10 songs on the track
Beloved
list.
bands, Imagine Dragons.
Well, people like Imagine Dragons. Do you not like Imagine Dragons?
No, I don't mind them. They're just very divisive, it looks like. I see all the memes of them shaking hands with Nickelback, so.
I think it's just the fun of the song, which is on it. In case you want to know the track list, it is Bad Liar, Believer, Digital, It's Time, Machine, Natural, Radioactive, Thunder, Hit a Thunder, Warriors, and Whatever It Takes. So that's the 10 tracks you've got. And from everything I've seen online, people are enjoying it enough. So that's cool.
That's because it's Beat Saber.
Well, yeah, it's Beat Saber. I've brought it. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. It's 20. It was like 19 something or other. It's basically $20, which you could be like, that's a lot. Not really. I mean, it's 10 songs. It's a couple bucks every song. Seems about fair. Whatever. If you don't want all the songs, you can just, of course, buy
in piecemeal.
Buy in piecemeal if you want to. You save a couple bucks if you buy the whole thing, though, obviously. But it's 10 more songs, $20. Sure, sounds good. But what do you reckon? We've got the floodgates open now, licensed stuff. Do you reckon this is the road that they're gonna continue down?
I mean, if you can get more songs into Beat Saber, that's better for everybody. It's better for licensed artists rather than the people just modding them into the game like they've been doing on PC. So at least they get a bit of a cut.
Well,
it's a win for everybody.
That's the interesting thing with the PC version. It's like if they start getting more licensed artists on board and wanting to do music packs for Beat Saber, what's that do to the mod community who are just making their own songs and these sorts of things? It's like I wonder if people had already done these songs and then they're like, well, I'm not paying for them. Like,
no, yeah.
Why don't I pay for them? That seems silly. Not really super PSVR related, but I thought I'd just chuck it in here quickly because it was part of the same announcement, which is somewhat interesting. But they're adding this thing for Oculus Quest. It's coming out sometime in the future. 360 Beat Saber. So I watched a video. Well, I watched a video of it. It's not like you're ever stuck. Like the notes just don't disappear, and it's like it makes you do like a full 180 turn and like disorientates you a lot. It's just you may slightly move left while you're swinging or something like that. You know, so you do move around obviously in the full 360, but it's not like you're swinging around and you're going to make yourself sick. If you know what I'm saying. Obviously, I think that's not going to come to PSVR for certain reasons. A, it probably won't track very well. and B,
No.
you will twist all the cords around your ankles and then trip over
Kill
and
yourself,
crash. Kill yourself.
Strangle yourself to death in Beat Saber.
Yeah, so if you ever see that story, Beat Saber 360, and you go, that sounds cool. When's that coming PSVR? I'm going to say, don't get your hopes up. Another interesting thing that I'm keen for that was announced during E3. I don't know if it wasn't actually at E3, it was just announced during E3. But Sniper Elite VR, this is a game coming. So it's coming from Rebellion, who do I think they've done nearly all of the Sniper Elite games. They're not doing the one that's coming up, though, I don't think. Different studio. But they released a trailer for it, and it doesn't show you like full-on gameplay. It shows you like off-screen TV gameplay where you can see the person actually playing it. And I think it looks pretty cool. And number one reason I'm keen for it is mostly because you get to use the aim controller. And I like that controller, and the more games that use it, that allow me to use it and use it well and design for it is exciting. But it's not like a sniper... What do you call it? Like you don't start the level and it's just like put you in one spot and you just shoot some people and that's it. Which sounds boring. It's like the actual sniper games in which you can walk around these environments. You get full control. You got to find your target.
You can pick where you're going to shoot from.
You pick where you're going to shoot from. You take them out. Do what you need to do. And then when you're using the aim controller, I'm going to presume if it's all done really well, it'll feel cool to actually hold that gun and bring it up and do all these sorts of things. You'll be able to play it with dual shock and move as well, they said, but I think obviously aim will presumably be the preferred way to play it. Well, it definitely would be my preferred way to try it out and stuff like that. From the video, it seems like it's rather pretty looking as well. The environments all look pretty good and stuff like that. That definitely doesn't look cheap, and it's still got the key element that makes the sniper games what they are, which is the X-ray slow-mo kill camera.
How's that going to work?
Well, I don't really know. They show it in the video.
You're going to be pulled in all the way over there.
You're going to be pulled over there somewhat. So in the video, whenever it happened, the camera went blank for a second, and then it, like when it came out, you were a lot closer to the target, the camera was, and then it would move you through it slightly and do the whole X-ray like bullet takedown. So whereas in the normal games, the camera follows the bullet out of the barrel all the way along to the target and then goes through the groin or whatever, gruesomely. In this one, it's going to cut away for a second. I presume that helps with obviously motion sickness stuff and what have you there. So, but either way, it's necessary, and I think cool that they've left it in there, because that's one of the elements that even if you haven't played a sniper game before, you've probably seen a video of these X-ray kill cam stuff, because that's kind of what the game's known for. Funny. Yeah, and they're funny. And there was that, I remember the first one I ever saw was actually on, it was one of the ones that came out like years and years ago, and Barjo and Hex were reviewing it on Good Game, and they just put in a whole montage of these X-ray kill cams and stuff like that. So yeah, I know it's not a franchise that everyone's like, it's super popular or anything, but it's consistently reviews decently and does well. So I'm hoping this VR variant of it plays as well and is interesting. They said it's got a story, like a full-on story for it as well. So that's cool. It's not just like, well, why am I shooting people? There is going to be a story in it. They'll hopefully be interesting. Coming out later this year at some point. So that's good. Here is your ETC for episode 115. I've got 2 trophy lists that have popped for you this week. So firstly, Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled, as we was just talking about before. Its trophy list is up ahead of its release later this week, officially Friday, and it does not look easy. You have a bunch of time trial stuff which you have to beat, and from memory, those Crash Team Racing tracks, they're quite a challenge. So strap on for that one. And beating the game on hard mode is also a thing that's going to be quite a challenge. That is a trophy that you'll need to get. I wouldn't suggest doing it on hard mode the first time through, if that's even an option for you to do. I would suggest just enjoying the game and going back through. And then there's also a heap of miscellaneous trophies to like winning a race within 0.3 seconds ahead of the person in front of you, power-up based stuff and so on, which could be tedious, just depends on if you get lucky for a bunch of them or not. Luckily, there is no online stuff, though. So you do not need to play online and win X amount of matches, etc., for this game. You just have a bunch of single-player based stuff. But either way, it's going to be quite annoying. And either way, also, I'm going to be playing it. Might not end up getting the plat, though. But I am kind of hoping this is one of those games I'm kind of hoping that they're going to add online trophies for post-launch in DLC, because I would like to play this game a lot online, and if they add online trophies post-launch to keep that string for me to do, I much prefer when they do it that way, the Uncharted way, the Naughty Dog way, where they put the trophies in for online post-launch and keep them separate to the main game for people who don't want to play online a bunch. The other trophy list that's gone up is the Sinking Cities trophies. The Lovecraftian inspired game has open world, get around on a boat, it's third person. There was a lot of comparisons to it to Call of Cthulhu last year, but they're very different games from what we've seen. And has a very cool list. And I have no idea what the hell is going on in the list, which I think is fitting given the game. Every trophy, every description for every trophy sounds like a potential spoiler, but they're very obscure. None of them say there's no trophy for even beating the game. They're all just like very story-driven sounding things. So maybe you can just beat the game and get a platinum. Maybe you can beat the game and get none of these trophies. I really have no idea, but I think it's a really cool sounding list, and some of the trophy images also look really cool. So we'll have to wait and see if this is an easy one or not. At least it's a very thematic, fitting trophy list. All right, well, that's it for this episode of Platinum Explosion, our post E3 episode. I looked at the right before we started recording as well. I looked at how many episodes there was between the first state of play and the second state of play, and there was actually 6 episodes between state of plays. 6 episodes released between the state of plays. This will be the 5th. So like if they announce a state of play after this post or whatever, so be it. But if we're gonna put our theorizing black hats on or whatever, then we're gonna say that the state of play will not get announced until after we record next week's episode. That's when it'll happen. Just checking that out there. If you're like, oh, E3's over, when's the state of play coming? Better check with Platinum Explosion to know what they're doing so we can figure out when it's going to happen. I'm telling you, after we record next week's episode is if the maths pays out. Although we don't have really good statistics. I've only got 6.
You've only got 2.
Yeah, we've got 2, and I've got 6 episodes between both.
Reliable.
So, yeah, it's not super reliable, but
it makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, put it like a week and a bit after the E3. Everybody sort of had their fill of the E3 news, and then bam!
Here we go. It's on like Donkey Kong.
You know, it's all quiet because everybody's really announced everything during E3.
Yeah.
Then you drop your massive
load.
Last of Us Part 2 release date in February next year.
Maybe. So, yeah, mark that in your calendars. State of Play 3 will be announced next Monday at some point. And I presume it will then air next Thursday or Friday or something, maybe.
Yeah.
That's the official predictions using our maps. But thank you for joining us on this episode of Platinum Explosion. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Vivaladil, VIVALADIL. You can follow Ash on Twitter at AshleyHobby, ASHLEYHOBLEY. You can follow Platinum Explosion on Twitter at Plat Podcast. And don't forget to rate, share on Apple Podcasts if you can. Share it with a friend. And join our Discord to chat about games. Ask for trophy tips. Give me trophy tips, whatever. ExplosionNetwork.com/Discord. And this is, of course, a product of the Explosion Network, of which you can find many more shows, articles, E3 shenanigans, news reviews. Go listen to our E3 Arcade Couch episode if you want a heap of E3 stuff. ExplosionNetwork.com for all that stuff. And you can follow the Explosion Network on Twitter at ExplosionPod. Until next week, where State of Play will get announced after we record it. Remember, every trophy counts.